you have to put yourself in the situation and say, okay, in this situation, what would I expect?
There's a moment where they try to make you feel bad for him, and he's crying and all the stuff is happening, and you stopped me in the middle of it and you said, Are you actually feeling bad for him? I said, no, but it seems like they're trying to.
This goes into a thing where it makes me so mad that these actors who can do this level of performance don't.
There are scenes where I was sitting there going, that's not Adam Sandler. It does not look like Adam Sandler. He did not act like Adam Sandler. He did not look like Adam Sandler.
The addiction isn't the addiction. The addiction is usually like the ritual that goes along with the addiction. That's a really big part of it that gets lost with a lot of movies that try to tackle this kind of thing. Here, though, it's showing you everything.
The 5 minutes before that, I was going, I don't understand why they're making it seem like everything's okay here, because no matter what the situation is, what he's doing right now is not okay.
Hello, all of you wonderful people out there in podcast land. Welcome to another fantastic episode of Black and White Reviews. My name is Chuck.
My name is Lee.
My name is Will.
And today we are doing another A24 original starring Adam Sandler, titled Uncut Gems. And I believe you both have already seen this movie prior to this, correct?
No, this was my first time.
This was a first for you too.
Yeah, wow. I wanted to watch it a while ago, and I've seen like bits, but never actually got into the movie.
So Will and I, one of the times when Lee wasn't able to be around, we had a conversation, and we're going through the list of A24 films, and he's like, Uncut Gems stars Adam Sandler, and he's like, you may not like it because it's full of language, and oh my gosh, it's full of language.
At least I gave you the warning. I'm not gonna.
You did, and I appreciate that. That is the only drawback to this movie, and I say drawback because I wouldn't have minded language in this film. They could have cut it in half, and it would have been enough.
Yeah, it still would have gotten the point across.
I mean, there was a lot of F words in this movie. A lot of F words. However, that being said, I don't like the language part of the movie, the acting, the script, the story, the filmography, the production. This movie was amazing to the point where what happens at the end, I was expecting to happen, but not in that way. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. Adam Sandler, not your typical Adam Sandler in this film. And he nailed it.
100%.
I absolutely love this movie. I give this movie a 9 out of 10 solely because the language knocks it down a point for me. Outside of that, this movie is perfect in every way. The acting
you
was
would
amazing.
You would legit give this a 9 out of 10. You're not just being a little hyperbolic right now. Legit, your score for this movie is a 9 out of 10.
Legit, this movie is so far right now. If it wasn't for the language, I said this before in the beginning of the year that Civil War was my favorite movie of the year. This tops it for me.
Well, it wasn't of this year.
Well,
I'm saying what I've seen this year, right now is one of my favorite A24 films right now. Except for the language, this movie literally, you're like, there are scenes where I was sitting there going, that's not Adam Sandler. It does not look like Adam Sandler. He did not act like Adam Sandler. He did not look like Adam Sandler. He stepped out of his norm and just killed this role. And I watched it, and I was up late one night. Like, I'm going to try it. I might just, start it now. And I was extremely tired. And I was like, you know what? I'll start it now and I'll just finish it later on. I could not stop watching the film. I was like, what's going to happen next? What's going to happen next? The moment the film start, it caught my attention, and it kept the entire time to the point where I was like,
wow.
When the ending happened, I was like, I was expecting it, but not in that way. And oh my gosh, I was ecstatic about this film. This movie is fantastic all the way around. All the way around.
All right.
So
where
I'm guessing he's getting cheese.
Oh, okay. He's getting cheese.
Shredded cheese.
Mm.
Cubed cheese.
Cube cheese.
So, did you expect that response from me, Will?
No. I don't know what I expected. I did not expect that response from you. I thought you would like it. I did not think that you would like it as much as you did. Little behind the scenes, Lee and I had a small talk about this earlier on in the week when we reconnected, and I kind of expected you to be kind of on this more of the same page with him. I expected you to not be able to see past Adam Sandler for being Adam Sandler. Like, I could see that being a really big hang-up for this movie. Like, people who watch this movie and see Adam Sandler, there's a thing. There's a stigma that comes along with that. In Adam Sandler,
there's a level of affection that you kind of have for him because he's Adam Sandler.
Exactly.
It's hard to let go of and accept his role here.
Very much so, and I kind of expected you to be on the same page with him a little bit with that. So yeah, I'm very surprised that you have this reaction to this movie. I love it though. Great, perfect. Okay.
The only, again, and the language isn't even Adam Sandler. It's the writer who did that,
Sure.
obviously. But in that realm of life, though, that's what happens. That's
Sure.
how they are. So you kind of have to like when I watch movies, I don't sit there and go, "This is my utopia movies, and everyone should make a movie just like this."
Mm-hmm.
That's never going to happen. It's like when I say, I watched 13 Hours, and I'm like, there's a ton of language in that, but of course, because in that realm where they're getting, RPGs are blowing up 13 feet from them, and of course, what's going to come out of their mouth? You have no idea. I can see that. You have to put yourself in the situation and say, okay, in this situation, what would I expect? In this situation, this is what I expect. Do I think that they went overboard with it? I think they did. They could have cut the language down in half and they would have gotten the same point across.
Sure.
However, when you're watching things like 25th Hour and you hear the monologue and you know that in that situation, that's what you expect. And again, too, language. What was bad language 100 years ago? What was bad language 500 years ago? So
True.
we kind of also have to put that into a relative perspective at the same time as, okay, you know what? It's a word, first and foremost. And do I like it? No, but the rest of it though, I'll be honest, the whole Adam Sandler piece, I did not have any thoughts of like, oh, this is Adam Sandler. And Lee had shared that with me. I'm like, that never even crossed my mind. It's like watching Batman, Dark Knight Rises, and you're seeing Heath Ledger as
sorry again, Dark Knight.
Dark Knight, sorry. You're seeing Heath Ledger as Joker. I didn't put like 10 things I hate about you in my mind when I saw that. When I saw
that's a different thing though. Heath Ledger did not have the career that Adam Sandler has before he did this. There's a difference here.
I think we're missing something here. So I just want to chime in because I feel like you guys are kind of putting words in my mouth.
I'm not putting words in your mouth.
You are. So when I was talking about this movie, both of you kind of like you're saying like Lee and like Lee this and no. I think the reality is, I wasn't thinking about Adam Sandler when I watched this role. Like I watched this movie and I said, you know what? I've seen him do more serious roles and I've appreciated them. Like Punch Drunk Love was not Adam Sandler.
No.
It was not. It was not what we knew of him to be. Just like when you watch Jim Carrey doing some of his, like Reign Over Me, again, not what you'd expect from Adam Sandler. So I've seen a lot of his more dramatic roles. So I wasn't looking at it and saying like anything else, but it was that moment where it's like they're almost trying to make you feel bad for him, but you're like, but I haven't felt bad for him the entire time because he's a schmuck. He's like, I mean, to get into character here, he's a schmuck. He's acting like an idiot. He's doing dumb things. Everybody hates him, and rightly so.
Sure.
Because he's being a jerk to everybody around him because he's obsessed with his addiction to gambling. But there's a moment where they try to make you feel bad for him, and he's crying, and all this stuff is happening. and you stopped me in the middle of it and you said, are you actually feeling bad for him? I said, no, but it seems like they're trying to. And you said, well, do you think they're trying to make you feel bad for him or make you feel bad for him because he's Adam Sandler? And I was like, okay, so just because he was Adam Sandler playing the role, you know, they were trying to use that as a way to almost make you feel sympathetic.
Sure.
Almost.
So let me clarify. Let me clarify one little thing.
I wasn't looking at this as a Sandler film at all.
Fine. I want to clarify one little thing before we continue. Yes, you and I had that conversation, and maybe it was a mistake for me to bring up that conversation without a whole lot of context. I apologize. That's number one. Number two thing that I want to bring up is that really wasn't the reason why I was saying that you might look at this as an Adam Sandler film. I said that because you're the guy of the three of us that's more drawn to comedies than either one of us. So
yeah,
you looking at this movie, I would expect you to look at this movie and say Adam Sandler, Happy Madison. That's kind of what that's the wavelength I was on. That's it.
Right.
That's all I meant.
But the funny thing too is like I look at Adam Sandler and Jim Carrey as two actors who have done primarily comedies. They're popular because of comedies primarily.
Yeah.
But when they have done dramatic roles, they have absolutely blown it out of the park. So
not always. Like Adam Sandler did Spanglish, and
that was just a not
That
a
was
well
a
put
bad
together movie.
That was a bad movie.
I don't think that was him. I think it was the writing and the directing.
Well, sure, but it was still a bad movie.
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying like when you see stuff like even Jim Carrey in Eternal Sunshine, which was not like, I mean, that was a kind of a goofy movie for what it was, but his character was very serious.
But then you see Jim Carrey in the number 23, and
Well,
that
we don't talk again. Bad movie, not bad actor. So I think that's what it comes down to. Is
Robin Williams in 1 Hour Photo would be another one that I would. That's up there.
Yeah,
For me, that's up there.
I need to rewatch that. He was twisted.
He was.
And he was.
He hit some strings in that movie, man.
Yeah.
We should do that movie. Didn't we do that movie once?
No.
I thought we did.
No. I probably saw it 10 years ago.
We should definitely do that movie.
We could. Wasn't Insomnia? I didn't see Insomnia. That was another one that he did with Pacino, right?
Don't even.
That was a bad movie.
That was a bad movie.
I didn't see it. Okay.
He doesn't show up until the final 10 minutes of that film.
Oh, really?
Who doesn't?
Robin Williams.
You know what I'd love to do?
He's in the whole movie.
No, he's not.
I'd love to talk about
Yes,
The Usual
he is.
Suspects.
No, he's not. He doesn't show up until the very end. What am I thinking about then?
I have no. But Robin Williams is Insomnia is the one where Robin Williams travels to Alaska and it's daylight for like 30 days, except for like a few hours, and at night it's daylight. And Pacino
wait a minute. What am I thinking
Pacino.
about then? Where he's the villain, Hugh Jackman, and what's his name? Oh my God, they're looking for a guy that like
Prisoners.
Yes,
No.
Prisoners. Was it Prisoners?
And I didn't see Prisoners.
Robin Williams shows up at the end of that movie, and he's the big villain. He's the reveal. Is that the movie I'm thinking about?
No, but
there's a movie with Hugh Jackman.
I tried to watch it, but
There's
Julianne, my wife, had her friend over to watch that with us, and she wouldn't stop talking. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I have to leave. I left the house.
So
Because she's the type of person who will sit there and watch a movie with you, and while you're watching it, she goes, "Who's this guy? What's he doing?" I'm like, if you shut up, you'd find out. Like, just take a moment.
The premise of the movie is somebody's
It's
daughter
worse.
either goes missing or somebody's daughter just like shows up dead or whatever. And Hugh Jackman
he's
and a
not
buddy
in
of
this.
his, they're like going
Not
through the
Prisoners.
throes of trying to figure out who did it, blah, blah, blah. And the end of the movie happens, and it's like, oh, there's Robin Williams, like out of nowhere. And it's just like, that was a really weird place for him. I think that's the movie that I think that's the movie. And if I'm
it's
messing
not
that up,
Prisoners, but Prisoners was amazing though. And Lee's never seen Prisoners, which
I never finished Prisoners.
whatever. Let us continue and get off of this.
All right,
We're talking about
Lee, your thoughts on this movie?
what movie? Prisoners?
No.
Uncut Gems.
Oh, that's what we're talking about. Uncut Gems. I'll say this. His wife is played by Idina Menzel, who my first introduction to her was Rent, and I know that she, does a lot of Broadway stuff, and then everybody knows her now as
Elsa.
What, Elsa? Okay, yeah. Well, I knew somebody from Frozen. So at first I'm like, she looks really familiar. She kind of looks like that lady from Rent, and then I found out it was her. I'm like, oh, well, good. Everybody else who's in it, I'll say this: the actors they got to be in this movie don't look like actors. It looks like they were just people who lived this life, and it was like the Office style. They walked in with a camera and got them. Like the guys that they were like, trading stuff with, like, here, take this Celtics ring and blah blah blah. I'm like, these guys don't look like actors. They look like they just happen to be shooting a film in here. Like, hey, would you want to be in a movie? Sounds good. Let's do it.
They look like background characters from Snatch.
Yeah. It was very strange. I mean, you got the character Damani.
His uncle fit well.
Mm-hmm. His uncle. Oh,
his uncle,
Judge Hirsch,
whatever. Yeah.
Oh well, no, his brother-in-law, the bad guy.
Yeah.
The bad.
Kinda.
Oh, I was thinking Judd Hirsch, who was what do you call it? Gooey.
Bad guy.
Gooey.
He's bad guy.
Sure.
The whole situation was just like, I'm watching it. I'm going, no, don't be stupid. No, stop being stupid. Why do you keep being stupid? Like, everything he's doing, I'm just going, you're dumb, you're a jerk, stop doing... Oh, wait. Mantis was in this. I didn't even realize that. Mantis from Guardians was in it. Palm Clementieff, whatever her name is. She was in it as a character. I didn't even notice that. Anyway. If you were asking how I felt about the movie in a general sense,
I think your word to me was woof.
I did say woof.
Wow.
I didn't say woof as in like that's the worst movie I've ever seen. It was more like woof, like woof. Like I didn't think it was going to be that rough. So yeah, I mean the way they, like you mentioned, the ending, like we all kind of saw the ending happening.
But not in that order.
I kind of did too, because I mean we'll get more into it, but we'll say the situation directly leading up to it
was amazing.
No, the situation directly leading up to it. You've got, without getting into details again, 3 dudes in a situation that they clearly don't want to be in. That's his fault for them being in it. There's the one dude who's had nothing but disdain for him the entire time. I don't see him being cool after he's removed from said situation. So when what happened at the end of the movie happened, I was like, I wasn't surprised. I was more like, I was for the 5 minutes before that, I was going, I don't understand why they're making it seem like everything's okay here, because no matter what the situation is, what he's doing right now is not okay.
Right.
For anybody.
Right.
So when the end happened, I'm just like, well, duh.
Well, I was expecting that to happen before all of this happened.
I guess so. Yeah.
That's what I was trying to say. Is I was
Yeah.
like, oh, I was expecting this to happen at some point, but
Yeah.
then but then what happens. I'm like, oh wow, they extended it.
Yeah.
And it like
It was very extended out, everything that did happen. Yeah, I'll give you that. I'll just say the movie is definitely a movie. Okay, because of the
would
language.
you watch it again?
This is what I'm saying. Literally talking about that, if you let me say it. I don't need to watch this movie again. I might watch it one more time, just to pick up subtleties. But I got the point of the movie. It was a good movie, but not something I would put on my shelf.
Because of the language.
Because of the language, it's not a movie that I would watch over and over again and be like, yeah, I love the F-bomb. Like, it's not necessary for me. But the story was really well put together. The way that he played the character, like, you believed him. You believed that he was that guy. And you saw the struggle, the addiction, the problem that he had, and him kind of going through the emotions that he's struck and stuck with. And you're like, that's believable. Like, I didn't have a problem with the way he did. There was not a single point in the movie where he did something that I thought was out of character for either him or the character. Like, it fit. It all matched up. It all worked.
I don't see another actor playing this part.
Yeah. I mean, there are actors who could have done a part like this, but I don't see anybody playing the part the way that he did because
He nailed it.
he did. The thing is, Adam Sandler,
I would wager
As
to bet
Adam
that this
Sandler.
was written specifically for him.
mm,
I would not be
I-
surprised. I would not be
Neither would
surprised
I.
at all if that came out, simply because of some of the mannerisms of this character. Like, there's only Adam Sandler is the only one who would be able to pull some of these things off. Just a little thing, just the ridiculous, half funny, half nervous smile he has throughout the entire run of the movie is
yeah,
intentional.
because he's trying to like, con people.
and it's the
yeah.
only thing. It's Adam Sandler is the only one who can do that.
Right.
I can't see anybody else doing that. That's why I said that.
So just to kind of get into Adam Sandler for a second, do you think that anybody who ever worked with, including Adam Sandler himself, ever thought he would do a role like this when he was on SNL?
No.
No.
Never.
So how amazing do you think that is for Adam Sandler and everybody he's worked with since the beginning of his fame to see that and be like, wow.
It's probably
Wow.
fantastic.
Wow. Like that has to be like Lorne Michaels is probably like, okay. Or I can't even do it. Like, very
Sure.
good. Very good. Like, just blown away by it. The reality is like nobody expected that.
Right.
When I think Adam Sandler, if you go back, my recollection of Adam Sandler when I was about 7 years old, my recollection of Adam Sandler is
He wants to do it. He really wants to do it.
I'm thinking like Wedding Singer, Waterboy, Billy Madison, Happy Gilmore, Airheads. Like that's it.
Sure.
It just ends there. All the other ones that came out afterwards, like yeah, you know, Big Daddy, okay, yeah,
Little
you know,
Nicky.
Blended, Mr. Deeds, all those other ones, yeah, I'm like those are great, but for
51st
me,
Dates.
for me,
That
it's
first
it's
wave.
it's been like that first wave of like, you know, 95 through 2000. Like
Sure.
I mean not even 2000, like 95 through 99. That's it. 4 years, those movies, great. And that's what hit for me. So seeing him branch out and do other stuff like Punch Drunk Love. I'm so happy we did Punch Drunk Love. Is that even up? Did that ever get up
It's somewhere.
online? It's in the
I think
it's
it's
in the
somewhere.
cloud. It's up in the cloud as
Is that like a
Harris says.
skunk butt rug?
Punch
Punch Drunk Love?
skunk.
You've never seen Punch Drunk Love?
I have
Wanna
seen
rec-
it. I was just
Okay.
I've seen it
Okay.
a long time
That's-
ago.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a movie.
I was making fun of a line in another movie.
Didn't he buy a bunch of pudding or something? And that's all I remember now. Pudding cups.
Pudding.
Anyway, yeah. So I'll just say like having that be like what I've known from him, but then like that's like that will always forever be the original Sandler in my heart. You know, is that stuff, and I'm like. He's goofy, he's ridiculous, you know, the characters he's played were actually, I'll say, pretty versatile for what they were, because sometimes you get the, like, you look at Chris Farley, and he did 2 big movies, hold on, before you say a word. Chris Farley and David Spade did 2 movies, and they might as well have been the same exact characters.
Yep.
And Billy Madison, Happy Gilmore, all those guys are
Very different characters, though. Happy Gilmore was into himself, thought he was like the man. Billy Madison was a goofy drunk. The Wedding Singer, he was just like kind of a loser just trying to get by, a hopeless romantic. The Waterboy, he was a seemingly uneducated Cajun. You know, like they were different characters. It wasn't like Ben Stiller when he does a rom-com. You know? Which is like, it's always the same. You know, like Along Came Polly, Meet the Parents and the Fockers, and you know,
Zoolander.
yeah, Zoolander's different, but like he had a different versatility there. But
Will, have you ever seen Zoolander?
Yes.
You don't seem thrilled by it.
I'm not.
the best part,
We should do that movie.
Yes.
Water is the essence of moisture, and moisture is the essence of wetness.
Let's do a
Swims away.
podcast. Let's do a podcast where we talk about male runway models for 2 hours. That's a great idea.
They're breakdance fighting.
We should do Zoolander and Boat Trip in one night.
Zoolander 2.
And then Boat Trip.
You guys are killing me.
Oh dear.
Come on.
We're gonna hang out together.
Followed
for the
by
night, and
Hedwig and the Angry Inch.
We're gonna invite Will over for the evening and just have a man's night and watch these 3 movies.
Priscilla, Queen of the Desert.
And we're gonna finish the night with Passion in the Desert.
Oh, jeez, no. Anyway, all that to say, Adam Sandler, when they give him a dramatic role, I'm not expecting him to miss it. I'm expecting him to nail it because he has heart behind everything he does. Even his comedies, as dumb and like childish as they are, he has a level of heart that's always kind of like the foundation underneath it in one way or another. And I mean, you watch Click, and Click is a stupid movie, but there's that scene. What?
Click is awesome.
But there's that scene where, like, I don't care who you are, there's not a dry eye when he's out there in the hospital gown in the rain. Like, you know, basically just saying, I don't care what you do, I know I'm dying right now, but just family is the most important thing.
Right.
And I'm like,
it's
whoa,
awesome.
this movie is so dumb leading up to this, but I am bawling my eyes out right here. That movie was dumb. He's flapping his thing. Look at my flap. I can
That's
flap it if I want to.
hilarious.
It's stupid.
It's a tongue.
It's
It's a tongue.
when he farts in his
Have you
boss's
seen Click,
face.
Will?
Yes.
Did you not like it?
It was okay. It wasn't
Christopher
great.
Walken
It wasn't
was great.
fantastic,
Walken was the
but
angel of death.
it was okay.
Kate
That was the best part.
Beckinsale?
That was
Kate
the best part.
Beckinsale?
I'm the angel of
Anyway,
Ashton. I was gonna say Ashton Kutcher. Sean Astin.
Sean Astin, Speedo Bandito.
Movie's great. It's
The movie's
fantastic.
stupid.
It's awesome.
It's stupid Happy
It's
Madison
okay.
goofiness.
It's
better than Hubie Halloween. Okay.
Stop saying stupid things like that. It's a good movie.
Okay. But the point is, there's whatever. Will agreed with me. There's an underlying heart as the base of the movie, and even here,
I
like,
agree with you on that. Are you implying that I don't agree with you?
I didn't imply. I inferred. Anyway, that's really all I had to say. I mean, the movie's a great movie, but due to the nature of the movie, I don't need to watch it any more than maybe one more time just to pick up subtleties.
Cool. Will?
When I first watched this movie, I could not get on board with it.
Really?
I couldn't do it. Like my first viewing, the first time I like sat down to like try to watch this movie, it was like Adam Sandler and like I mentioned, like the goofiness of his mannerisms, and I'm supposed to believe him in this serious movie. I noped out super early. It took me a good maybe year before I actually like sat down and watched it again, and my mind was absolutely blown. Because I went into it again thinking like with the mindset of remove yourself from this is Adam Sandler, and I was successful. And it was I think that probably was the first time I thought about like I would wager anything that this role was written specifically for him, because there's nobody else that can do the things that he does in this movie. Like there's the goofy, like I talked about, the goofy smile behind the beard and the way that he's always kind of looking shady. Even the and excuse my language a little bit, even when he's like looking at an item and he's like, I'm gonna come, like that's the Adam Sandler's the only person who can do that. There's nobody else in acting that can accomplish that and kind of be serious when he does it. So he's fantastic. The story of this movie is amazing. The ending of the movie, I didn't see coming the way that it happened. I didn't think that it was going to happen at any point during the movie. I thought this was going to be like your typical cautionary tale, but at the end he realizes, you know, the error of his ways and he turns things around. Like I thought it was going to be like typical and tropey like that. So I was very surprised by the way that this thing ended. I was absolutely blown away. This is this goes into a thing where it makes me so mad that these actors who can do this level of performance don't do this level of performance more often. They
yes,
stick
I
to
agree.
they stray away. They'll do a thing over here as like a passing project or like a side thing, but then they'll quickly run right back to their comfort level. Adam Sandler does it, Jim Carrey does it, and Robin Williams did it. They all went off in a different direction. They did one or two movies that were really, really good, and it completely pulled them out of their comfort zone. They nail it. Like they unquestionably, they're able to nail roles like this, but then immediately it's like, oh, I did it okay. I gotta go back to what's paying the bills and what's putting food on the table. I'm not mad at you for making your money. Make your money. But if this is the level of acting that you can deliver, why don't you? Why doesn't Adam Sandler do more things like this? Like,
I agree.
Why not challenge yourself? I don't know. I could never be content knowing this, like, okay, this is what I'm good at, but I really want to do something over here. I'm going to try it. Oh, I was good. Okay, I did it. I'm done. I don't know. That kind of thinking is just a little bit foreign to me. I would want to explore that to the best of my potential.
It makes you a better actor all the way around.
It makes you a fantastic actor all around. And I say that. I loved Punch Drunk Love. I loved Reign Over Me. I love this movie. And I'm probably going to be somewhat of the odd man out here. I don't like a lot of Adam Sandler films because I'm not a comedy guy. I think a lot of those early movies of his were campy and corny in 90s and that style of comedy and, that old school vintage style of SNL. And that's fine. That's fine for that audience. I have no problem with that. And if that's the wheelhouse that he was in, then so be it. But just every now and again, when you have one of these guys that veer off and they do something awesome, I get really upset when I don't see more of it because I want more of it, because I want every actor to be able to explore everything that they can possibly do and then some. And this is the perfect way that you can go ahead about doing something like that. Speaking to this being an A24 film, there's no way a film like this would be made in mainstream Hollywood ever. It would not happen.
Way.
The not just, I'm talking about the way that it's acted, the way that it's shot, the way that it's
very
lit.
much an indie film.
Yeah, the way that
Very
it's
much.
lit, the way that the soundstage is set, the way that, and I'm not giving anything away here, but the way that all of the characters in this movie act very city in the way that they interact with one another, the way they're all talking over one another, nobody can get a word in edgewise. You would never see that in mainstream Hollywood, ever. It's like such
it was very fast paced.
It was such an authentic feel to what like city life is. Something that you don't get in a lot of mainstream Hollywood films. Mainstream Hollywood is like Goodfellas. Everybody has their time for talking. Everybody has their moment. Nobody's really going outside of the grain. There's no real genuine arguments happening. That's not what that life is like at all. It looks more like this. There are people, they are arguing about money. They're all yelling over one another, trying to get their case in. You would never see anything like that being made ever in mainstream Hollywood. So that pleases my heart.
This movie had a level of controlled chaos that you don't see in a lot of
100% controlled chaos. I love the way that you just put that because it's absolutely it's 100% true. Even to the point that I think Lee brought up earlier, or maybe it was I forget. I apologize. That all of the other actors in this movie is like, or actors and actresses in this movie are like nobodies.
Nobody's.
Like, who cares? They are background characters at best that were just given a better role. That's why I said like, the whole, Jewish jewelry thing that's going on in the background of Snatch. That is the forefront of every single character in this movie, and it's fantastic. It makes this movie work on so many different levels. Without getting too much into spoiler territory, Lee brought up the term addiction, and my only thing is like, addicted to what? The chase, the
gambling.
high, gambling,
Yeah.
or is it just like the adrenaline of outrunning everybody else? Because it isn't just the gambling, is it? There's a lot more going on than just the gambling.
It's gambling. Gambling by definition. He is gambling with
his
everything.
life.
with his
gambling.
life.
So is
With
that,
his
that,
money, with his
Okay, good.
family, with his life.
So I don't think-
everything
because
is
I
a
don't-
full-on gamble.
I don't think it's just like, oh, he's betting on the Celtics game and we can call it a day. No.
No.
This man is addicted to gambling with his life. That's
No,
I
when
think
he
that's
he
the
finally
point of
got
the
that
movie.
money,
So-
when he well, I mean, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, no, we'll get there. We'll get there. But I
Yeah,
think that's the
I know.
overall point of the movie is that just addiction can come in all forms, in all shapes, and all sizes. It doesn't just have to be the gambling addiction or the drug addiction or the drinking problem or whatever you're fighting, blah, blah, blah. It could literally be this guy has an addiction to gambling with his life. He has somewhat of an addiction to outrunning the impossible scenario. Or he has an addiction to just keeping his head just barely above water, and that's the point of the movie. And it's such a weird thing to think about. It's such a weird concept for a film. Because normally you would see like, oh, addiction. Well, what are we gonna choose? Drug problem. Okay, movie. No, this is such an out there weird thing to have a fix on that it makes it a lot more like relatable and down to home, because a lot of the time, like, the addiction isn't the addiction. The addiction is usually like the ritual that goes along with the addiction. That's a really big part of it that you like gets lost with a lot of movies that try to tackle this kind of thing. Here though, it's showing you everything. Not just the gambling, but everything that encompasses that. And I think that's it's insane. It's insane. And not only would this not happen in Hollywood for all of the reasons I just mentioned, I think Hollywood doesn't have a lot of faith in audiences to be able to like mentally grasp a concept like this. That's this like that just shows the dynamic of what this is. So that's those are my thoughts. I echo with Chuck. I am a strong 9.5 out of 10 for this movie, hands down. There's no, I love this movie. I absolutely love this movie. It is 100% my favorite Adam Sandler movie. I don't. There's nothing else in Adam Sandler's filmography that I would put above this. Nothing.
I concur. I concur.
Do you concur?
I concur.
This is Adam Sandler acting at his finest, and I hope and pray that he explores other avenues of his acting ability to give us something else, maybe not like this, but on par of this. He doesn't always have to be the funny guy. So
he's currently working on Happy Gilmore 2, and I think he's going to like kind of delve into a little bit of this character here and bring that into the mix.
I doubt it.
Yeah, I do.
So do we want to get into it?
I want to say just because I don't want to forget.
He's going to grow up and realize that, you know, maybe hockey isn't the answer. Is that going to be the point of the movie?
Maybe.
Golf.
Maybe. I want to say just before I forget, just because Uncut Gems has been popping up, like I have it here on IMDb. I usually pull up our stuff on IMDb just so I can kind of get an idea of what we're talking about and look a little further into it. Slow Horses. Have you guys looked into Slow Horses at all, or seen or heard anything about it?
Nope.
Not a joke.
Nope.
Okay.
I would.
Gary Oldman and Hugo Weaving, and it looks. I mean, I haven't really like saw a full trailer, but it looks pretty good. And I would just say because of Gary Oldman and Hugo Weaving.
Anything else?
Okay. All right.
That's
just
all
saying
you have to do is say.
Okay. It's an Apple TV original, therefore, Will, you know what to do. So, anyway, that's all I wanted to bring up. So, Will, write that down.
Thank you. Okay. I will do that.
So.
Oh, look at this, Punch Drunk Love. Anyway. Oh, Paul Thomas Anderson. That makes sense. Yep,
Yes.
Yep. Okay.
Chuck, please.
With that being said, we're going to slide. Wow, this is just awkward. Please stop. It's just weird. Please stop.
Wiggity, 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 wiggity.
It's funnier when I do it over here.
No, it's just because it's weirdly in the background. Mine's just.
It's just too close. So with that being said, if you want to hear the rest or watch the rest of this, watch the rest of this conversation, find us on patreon.com/blackandwhitereviews. You can find us on all social medias, YouTube and Instagram at Black and White Reviews 1866 and Facebook at Black and White Reviews. Respond, sign up on Patreon, especially because the more that we can gather from you, the more that we can put into the podcast. We have shifted things over time and we want to do more. But without your help and support, we're not fully able to do that.
No.
So, we need your help. We need your input. We need your comments, your friends to follow. Tell everybody that you know about us. We are the best movie podcast
Ever.
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 We're
the greatest ever.
We're the greatest ever. There's no biasness in us at all. We're the only three that believe that, but that's okay. So with that being said, we're going to slide right into spoiler territory.
Oh.